It is a humbling honor as a civil society organization to co-host this along with the Holy See, which I believe now, with Pope Francis's leadership, will be increasingly taking a leading role in setting the moral compass on this issue. But it would be remiss of me not to recognize the leading role that Ambassador Libran Cabactulan of the Philippines has played in this very, very critical issue. Ambassador Cabactulan, the former permanent representative of the Philippines to the United Nations, served as the president of the very successful 2010 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty Review Conference, an extraordinary achievement of bringing all states parties to consensus on the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty disarmament commitments that exist as solemn commitments to eliminate nuclear weapons, and I quote the parties, an unequivocal undertaking to obtain the elimination of nuclear weapons. He has been on the forefront of this initiative to set the moral compass on nuclear weapons. So he has just flown in all the way from Manila to be here for this gathering, because it is not, I can see, it is not just a professional responsibility for him, but it is a profoundly human responsibility that he passes on to us. Ambassador Cabactulan.
Your Grace, Monsignor Auza, Chair of Global Security Institute, Jonathan, let me first thank you and congratulate you for hosting this event and carrying it forward, and I hope forcefully forward, what we had begun in the two previous sessions or events, which were co-sponsored by the Philippines. The one which was here, and the previous one, the second one, was in Vienna, at the time when we had the third the conference on humanitarian consequences of nuclear bombs. As this event is coming in the eve of the 2015 RevCon, or NPT Review Conference, I think it would be good if I will situate you on the current thinking on what should be the outcome of 2015. Given that what has been advertised or said by Jonathan, that I achieved commitments very specific, forgetting about anything about Pacta Sunt Servanda, nothing has been achieved. Nothing much, nothing practically. I was in Annecy about 3 weeks ago in a gathering of key negotiators. The discussions gravitated towards re-emphasizing, restating the 13 practical steps adopted in 2000, RevCon. Restating, reconfirming the 2010 Consensus Action Plan. And thirdly, to put impetus to what was agreed in 2010 relating to the Conference on the Middle East, that is implementing the 1995 resolution for convening a conference that is directed toward the establishment of a Middle East free of nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction. Putting it in totality, the direction is to have or to reconfirm the so-called 2010 plus, because 2010 action plan included the 13 practical steps of 2000 and the reference to the Middle East. So the general thinking, just general sketch or architecture, is that it will be a 2010 plus. Now what is this plus? This plus could mean relating to the Austrian pledge, relating to the Nuclear Weapons Convention. It all depends on what could be agreed upon. It could mean definitive approaches towards nuclear zero. It could also include the idea of having an evaluation mechanism for nuclear disarmament, because right now we don't have. But these are all preliminary ideas. Now, indeed, we have an splendid, we have very known, a very impressive list of speakers. These are spiritual leaders, heavyweights. And indeed, I feel a midget in this gathering. What perhaps I achieved that was calling more on temporal power. And maybe I failed because in the order of things, is the tally sheet. What has been done? And that's why I am gratified that we might have to need the spiritual readers that will bring us all up. But I would like to think that maybe we have choices in the courses that we are going to pursue as we move on. One, we continue the course that we are doing and just tinkering here and there, using the same logic, rehashing the political arguments, using the usual diplomatic maneuvering, with the hope that we will inch forward towards what we would like to achieve, and that is the total elimination of nuclear bombs. At the same time, hoping against hope that this massively destructive, the most inhuman weapon of mass destruction will never or will not be released at all. That will annihilate us all. And who is to blame? Who is to carry the moral weight why it happened? The elimination of mankind? Is it the spiritual leaders? Maybe. Maybe they have not done so much in carrying the message to an ordinary person, in carrying the messages to the diplomats, to the government. Or maybe all of us, because you have not listened to what they have been saying. I will not say a lot more, but I just want to say two more things. One is that a word of caution in this hall, in the interaction of countries, morality, a call to ethical consideration is not saleable. It's not something that would fly very quickly. Yet, it is ironic because it's the basis for all the agreements. Don't you think it is not a violation of your basic human right? If you in the province, in a lowly barrio or some state, without knowing, and you'll be blown out of the space, you'll be blown out of existence, it's not a basic human right violation of that person. And that relates to morality. But what? We always caution with nice words. We cannot use words like, it's immoral to have nuclear bombs. It is a sin, an instrument of sin to have nuclear bomb. It is an instrument for mass murder. Can you do that? But it is very important that this should be all in our minds, because as we continue our engagement in this hall, they become the real force for achieving or pushing what you would like to have. But I also would like to add very quickly that at the very end, as I have said in the first session, first event, that I would love it and I would want it, in fact, that one day, in every pulpit, in every corner, if those that I have said will resonate and will be said, and if one or two or politician will not be elected that will run counter to what should be achieved, things might change. Thank you, Jonathan.